Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest from Easton today, Easton, Massachusetts. I lived pretty close to there a while back. We have Anna Staniszewski. Did I say this right?
You did.
Staniszewski. And she is the author of another young person's book, Secondhand Wishes. Did you design the cover?
No.
I see Scholastic on the back of this. You're part of Scholastic?
Yes, so this book was published by Scholastic.
That is real kudo. If you can get Scholastic to want it, because the book fairs at the schools, it's all Scholastic. Have your books been at the book fairs?
Yes, most of my books are in the fairs, which is like a dream come true.
So, without giving it all away, tell the viewers what Secondhand Wishes is basically about.
Okay, so Secondhand Wishes, it is about a girl named Lexi. She's 12 years old, and she has a few problems in her life. Her brother has a chronic illness, so he's kind of in and out of the hospital, and her parents, because of that, are struggling with paying hospital bills. And she's having some problems with her friends, like her best friend seems like she's getting a little bit distant. And so one day she finds these magical wishing stones and she gives them a try, and amazingly her wishes start coming true. But what she doesn't realize is the wishes have been used by somebody else already. So her wishes come true, but with some very weird side effects.
Where did you get the idea?
So I always get ideas in the middle of the night, and I always write them down in my notebook that I keep by my bed, and they never make any sense in the morning. But this one, I had an idea in the middle of the night about wishes, like wishes for sale. And I started thinking, well, why would you be selling wishes at a discount, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then I thought, well, maybe they're used, and that's what's wrong with them. And so then in the morning, when I had written that in my notebook, in the morning I looked at it and I thought, secondhand wishes.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of
And
where it came from.
Yeah. You wrote this a year ago?
No, I mean, it's probably closer to 2 years ago now. It just came out in January.
And you have a little one at home, so you have a job there, too.
Yes, yes, I do.
I know what that's like. I mean, I had one child, but he was like 10 rolled into one. I don't know if you're going through that, but it was like, I don't know what I would have done with more. I mean, it's like the good Lord putting 10 kids in this one kid's body. Now, who did the cover?
So they have a cover designer at Scholastic. I mean, all publishers have them. And so they, in this case, they did a photo shoot, and then, they hire a model and they kind of do the photo shoot, and then they kind of dazzle it up in Photoshop.
I always wondered how Scholastic did it.
Yeah.
Do they give you any say in it, or it's all them?
Not really. They asked me for a description of the character and any kind of things that I was imagining. And then they kind of did their own thing, but I loved what they came up with. So that's usually how it is. A lot of times they'll ask for input, but then they know what sells books, so ultimately I trust their judgment.
This is basically for a young group from 8 to 12. However, we grown-ups enjoy it too. I still love kids' books. My mother read to me. I could read, but till I was 8 years old at nighttime to go to bed, get me to go to sleep. And I'd learned to read in first grade, for gosh sakes, so now I was 8. And one night she said, well, Jan, you know how to read. You can read yourself now. And I'm like, no. Well, she was great. She would be the animals. She'd be talking like them. She'd act it out. I'm like, and that would get me I wanted to go to sleep. That was what she had up her sleeve. How am I going to get her to go to sleep?
Right.
It's on a especially bad day. Lexi finds a bag of 4 wishing stones in the antique shop in town and wishes that her best friend Casa and the new girl would stop talking to each other. That night, Casa tells Lexi, crying over the end of her friendship with Marina, the wishes work. Wishes work. Now, this is not the first book that Anna has written. Start us off. It was first one was a Digosaurus Rex?
No. So my first book that came out was this one, My Very Unfairy Tale Life. This came out in 2011.
Yeah.
So I've always loved fairy tales. Those were my favorite
What was that one about?
So this is about a girl who's a magical adventurer.
Yeah.
She solves magical problems, and she's a little bit tired of it. And so it's more about her sort of magical misadventure.
And she's got a frog on her head.
Yes, yes. So this story actually started with just a scene that I wrote about a girl coming home from school to find a talking frog sitting on her head. Now, if it was me and there was a talking frog sitting on my bed, I'd probably scream and run away. But she didn't do that.
Yeah.
She was so annoyed, and she actually grabbed this frog and threw it out a window.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, who is this character?
Yeah.
I need to write more about her. So, so that turned into this book, and this was a series, a 3-book series.
Oh my gosh. So that's available. How, before we go any further, how can you, all these books that Anna has, how can they get a hold of them?
So these are available bookstores, libraries, online, pretty much anywhere you find books, you should be able to get
And
them.
also, you're going to leave a copy of your Secondhand Wishes downstairs, right in the Upton Library.
Yep.
Go for that. So that's the very first one you wrote.
So that's the first one that was published.
Published.
It was probably my 4th or 5th book that I wrote.
So
and
you
those
did
other ones-
self-publishing beforehand?
No, those books were never published.
They never. The ones you have here were never published.
No. So all of these have been published,
Yeah.
but there were a few that just were never sold to a publisher.
Okay.
Those were the books that it was me learning how to write a novel. So they were books that I wrote and revised. One got me my literary agent.
Yeah.
Another one got very close to selling to a publisher, but never did.
Yeah.
So this one was the one that did sell.
How long have you been writing?
I mean, I've been writing since I was in 2nd grade.
You were all. Why do I hear this a lot? Why they start early,
Yeah.
and then by the time you get to high school, did you know you were going to be doing this?
So I actually thought I was going to be a playwright.
A playwright?
Because I loved writing plays and I loved theater. So I went to college for playwriting. And then eventually I realized I liked playwriting, but I didn't love it. And you have to love it because it's such a tough business to be in.
Yes.
But so I was working on short stories for adults actually. And then, so I got a critique from somebody who said, all your characters sound 13.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I started thinking about all the stories that had really stuck with me in my life. And so many of them were books that I had read when I was young.
Sure.
And I thought, oh, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing, is writing for children.
Yeah.
So,
What college did you go to, Anne?
So I went to Sarah Lawrence College.
Sarah Lawrence. Where is that?
It's in New York. It's just north of Manhattan.
Okay. So you went there. When you came out, what did you think you were going to do?
So I thought maybe I'll do theater. I don't know. I really was not sure.
Sure.
And so I actually I worked at a bank for a little while, which was a really terrible thing.
Boring.
It was not for me.
For me, it would be
not
boring.
for me.
No, me neither. I tried it too.
And I eventually wound up working at the Eric Carle Museum in Amherst.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun.
It was, and I got a job there right before it opened,
Yeah.
and so I worked there for a few months, and I was just surrounded by people who love children's books,
Yeah.
and that's what got me kind of already thinking in that way. And then when somebody told me all your characters sound 13, I thought, okay, this
This
makes
is it.
sense. So
This is it.
I wound up going to the MFA Writing for Children program at Simmons College.
What's it called?
The MFA Writing for Children.
MFA? What is-
Master in Fine Arts.
Writing for Children. And where was it at?
Simmons College.
Simmons
in Boston.
College in Boston. Okay.
Yep. And I teach in that program now.
You teaching in Boston on the children's writing? As if you didn't have enough to do.
I know.
That's amazing. You've heard of Emerson, right?
Yes.
Now, I think that's also, well, I know it's high in people who want to go into broadcasting. That's where my parents met. We have James Nicola, viewers may recall, he's been on many times. He is from New York City, and he is a stage director in New York City, but he's also a poet. So when he's up here in the Boston area, he's on the show, and he'll be on again probably in April coming up. The stage in him, he just completely emotes his poetry. He's like, when you mentioned the stage, I thought about him. I'm wondering if some of your children's books could become stage shows.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool. I mean, it's funny because I think, even though I haven't done playwriting in so many years,
Yeah.
I still see it in my writing, just because when I write early drafts, there's so much dialogue. It's really just people standing around talking to each other.
Yeah.
And then I kind of fill it out. And so, I think that's kind of what I was trained to do for so long.
Yeah.
And it's still there in my writing, even though I'm writing.
I love
novels.
the font size, I gotta say, of your book. Too doggone many books are, I don't know, they're jammed together, they're too small. I mean, I'm not blind, but I'd rather open a book and say, "Oh, this is easy," like that. Some of them, I mean, especially I think the older ones, published in the 50s, 60s, something like that. You look at a paperback back then, it's like, how did anybody ever read it?
Yeah.
But this is, you chose your font.
No,
they chose it.
No, they chose it. The publisher does all of that, so I really don't have anything to do with it. So it's always kind of a fun surprise to open my book and see what happens, what's happening inside.
What is now? This one came out when?
So this one came out in 2013, I think.
The Dirt Diary.
Dirt Diary, 2014.
I love this. The Dirt Diary. Okay, how many of you girls out there have got their own diary, even if you're older now? I mean, this makes sense. She's sitting there like with her diary. What's this generally about?
So it's about a girl whose mom owns a cleaning business, and she winds up working with her mom, cleaning houses of some of her classmates, and she finds out some of their secrets. And
Yeah, but that's embarrassing too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of classmates might tease her about, oh, well, your mother just cleans or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so she discovers secrets in their journals?
So she in cleaning their houses, she kind of learns things about them that maybe they don't want other people to know.
And she writes it in her journal?
Yes.
Oh, I can see. This one stands out to me. I like this. This is really
That
cool.
one was a really fun one to work on, especially because I when I think about being in middle school, the kind of emotion that comes to mind is embarrassment, and so I feel like I just poured all of that middle school embarrassment into this series. It's actually a 4-book series, and it was so much fun to write. I mean, in a way, it was sort of painful because this poor girl just goes through all these things, all these really terribly embarrassing things, but it was also really fun to write because it was what can I do to her now?
I like what it says at the back. It says, Rachel can't believe she has to give up her Saturdays to scrubbing other people's toilets. Blech. So gross. But she kind of sort of stole $287.22 from her college fund that she's got to pay back ASAP on her mom, or her mom will ground her for life. Mm-hmm. Did you get these ideas from your growing up?
Not really. So I actually kind of don't like writing about my own life because it feels so boring. I like inventing things. And so this idea I was inspired by an idea, something I heard on the radio, actually. It was, there's just this little piece they were talking about embarrassing teenage memories. And there was a piece that they mentioned a girl whose mom had a cleaning business, and she wound up cleaning some of her classmates' houses. And I thought, oh, that sounds like such a great idea for a story. Yeah. So I kind of ran with it, but I feel like the emotions of, of being that age and being in those embarrassing situations, those came from me. But the specific situations, it's just more fun for me to make.
Looks like you nailed it. And again, how can people get your books?
So again, this is available through libraries, bookstores, online, anywhere you get books, you should be able to find mine.
Okay, so the age group, well, I still say for young adults and adults too, but 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Secondhand Wishes, the latest one, and the Dirt Diary. Boy, I want to read that one. Now, and the fairy tale, my very fairy tale life. Mm-hmm. Keep going. What else have we got?
Okay. So then I've had a few other books published, but I don't have those with me. But I've also, so most of my books are novels for young readers, but I also have a couple of picture books.
Was this your first?
So publishing is a little funny. So this one, Dogosaurus Rex, was...
Let me hold it up for you. Dogosaurus Rex.
Yes, was the first picture book that I sold. But this one, Power Down Little Robot, was the first one that was actually published.
Power Down Little Robot. Can you? I know Paul can get 0 on both of them. That's the very first one you wrote. Power Down.
So that was the first so this picture book is the one that I sold
very
first. But this one came out first, just because there were delays with this one. So.
How many years ago?
So this one came out in 2015, and this one came out in 2017.
How about that? I mean, you're pretty prolific at writing these too. Oh my gosh! Wait, do you have a daughter or a son?
A daughter.
Wait till she reads these. Is she a lucky girl?
She loves these 2 books. She's always asking me, when are you going to write more books for me, Mommy?
When she gets to be, what, between 8 and 12?
Oh, yeah. She cannot wait to read these books. She keeps asking, when can I read those? Can I read those when I'm a bigger kid? Yes, you can.
I don't remember things like this when I was growing up. Of course, we had mysteries. We had I think Nancy Drew was still popular. I don't know. But now it's come back.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew, you go to a bookstore, they got the whole yellow and green or whatever they are. I used to love those. Did you ever read the book, The Witch of Blackbird Pond?
Oh, yes.
My aunt sent that to me from Pennsylvania, and I loved it. She was into books. Mm. Now, okay, so this is Dogosaurus Rex. The little guy is walking his dinosaur. What's that show on TV? These little dinosaurs on TV. Oh, they're so cute. It's cartoons for kids. Oh my gosh. The dinosaur's trying to eat a car.
Yeah. So this is about a boy who adopts a dog and doesn't realize that it's actually a dinosaur. You know, don't you just like hate when that happens?
Does it grow? I mean, does it? Oh no, he thought that in a cage. He thought that was a dog.
Yes. Oh, the whole time they think it's a dog.
His parents too.
Yep.
How cool is that?
I love reading this book to kids because they're all like, but it's a dinosaur. Like nobody else in the story realizes that it's a dinosaur. But I love books like that where you, the reader, feel a little smarter than the characters in the book.
Where have you been appearing in?
I do library events, bookstore events. Because I have a daughter, I don't do a lot of... I used to do more school visits and things. I haven't been able to do that very much just because of her preschool schedule.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll just kind of go locally to libraries and things.
Get you more up here because there's so much. I mean, my gosh. I mean, your friend who was just here, Tatnuk, is big up here.
Yes. Yeah, I grew up in Westboro, so I know Tatnuk.
Okay, and then over in Webster is the Book Lovers Gourmet.
Yep, I was there really recently,
Aren't they great?
Mm-hmm.
Is it cozy?
Yeah.
It's cozy. All right, now, what is Power Down about?
Power Down Little Robot is about a little robot who does not want to power down for the night. So he comes up with all these stalling techniques to try to get out of going to bed.
Sounds like a lot of us when we were kids.
Yeah.
I don't know what was with my parents. They'd feed me dinner, and of course, and 7 o'clock was my bedtime. No wonder I wasn't really ready to go. I could hear the other kids still playing out there. But then I think if Mom read to me, it kind of went up to 8, and then by the time I was maybe, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, she probably gave up and said, well, read to yourself and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no TV past a certain amount of time. I was always thinking that might be kind of a cool book. No TV unless you, I don't know, something like that. All right, so you've got that. Now, what are the other two ones?
So this one that I brought, this isn't out yet. This is the first book in a new series that I have coming out. The first one comes out in September. This is an early chapter book series.
Once Upon a Fairy Tale, The Magic Mirror, and this is going to be the first one of a series.
Yes, so they're fairy tale mysteries.
Oh, I just saw something. Not only is the printing terrific, but I see things to color. Your friend who was just on here, her book, you open it up and it had this whole thing of cats, black and white. I got out the colored pencils. Really, this is fantastic. That is doable. Definitely, if I was, a young kid and all, and even now, that's too tempting for me. Boy, I would be adding to that. As I read your story, I would be coloring it.
Yeah.
So that's something you could promote too.
And these aren't, so this is, because it's an advanced copy, they're not final illustrations, or some of them are final, some of them are sketches, so I think they're going to be a little more detailed when it's
What is it basically about?
So they're fairy tale mysteries, so they're different, each one is about a different fairy tale, and there's a mystery that the kids in it have to solve. So this first one is, there's an ice princess, and her magical mirror has broken, and they're trying to figure out who did it and how to fix it.
Yeah.
The second one is a Cinderella one, where Cinderella's slipper goes missing, and they have to find it.
Now, Mackie Pamantuan is your artist?
Yes.
Do you know the person?
I don't know him, but he's done a lot of great books. He actually he did the Flat Stanley series, which is really popular, and then he did graphic novel adaptations. I'm trying to think if it's Nancy Drew. I
Okay.
think it's the Nancy Drew series. So
He did that too?
Yeah.
Okay, so he is not a kid. If he did those, the Nancy Drew.
No, the graphic novel. I mean, he's not. He's an artist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, but I wonder if he did the drawings in the Nancy Drew books.
Not in the classic
the original
books.
ones,
So
okay.
he's done the graphic novel adaptations of them.
So your next book is available on December 1st.
So this one comes out in September, and then the second one in the series will be out in December.
And then you've got two after that.
Yes.
The Missing Dwarf, The Snoring Princess in 2020.
So I'm writing The Snoring Princess right now, so
Yeah.
it's a little daunting to see the cover on the back of the book,
That's
knowing
cool.
that I right now have only an outline of that story.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're just not writing enough.
Right, I know.
So now, I know it's hard with a 4-year-old at home to get out. If somebody wanted to have you come and speak, either at their school or maybe their library and all, is there a good way they could connect with you?
Yes, so on my website, I have a contact form. It's just annastan.com, and they can get in touch with me. I'm not scheduling many school visits right now just because I'm not able to do much during the day, but
Yeah.
I'm scheduling a lot of weekend.
Wait till she gets to it. See, when my son was preschool. By the time he hit kindergarten, I think it was all-day kindergarten, you're going to be a little more free.
Yes.
Yeah. And as they get a little bit older, actually, he was pretty good. If I brought something for him to do, if I had to give it, he would come along and he'd be a busy guy. If it comes down to that and you can't get a sitter, then you teach your child while
Right.
Mommy is talking.
Yeah, no, definitely. And she loves going to story times that I do.
She likes
so,
it,
yeah.
Do you think she wants to write?
I've asked her, and sometimes she says yes, and then, sometimes it's like something completely different. So.
Something completely different. Now, you're over in Eastham. How long did it take you to get here?
So it's about 45 minutes.
About 45. Yeah, I remember living over in Bridgewater, Brockton. Let's see. God, that was years ago. That was back in the 80s. You know where Bridgewater State College is?
Yep.
We lived right in Waterford Village, which was right, like condo apartments right opposite that. So next thing that you're going to be doing is where? Where are you going to be coming next time? The closest to right now.
Oh, boy. I know I'm doing some events with Susan Lepner, who was just here. But I would have to look at my calendar, honestly.
What is it called? The Magic? What is it now?
The Luck and Magic Tour. So
the Luck and Magic Tour.
Yep.
Okay.
So I know we have some events coming up. One in Sutton, Mass.
Yeah. At the Enchanted Passages.
Yes. Yeah. So we have an event coming up there. I think in April. But that's the only one I can think of. I'm one of those people that if I don't write it down, it's gone. So I have to look at my calendar to remember.
The Enchanted Passages. We've had them on the show. The owners of that book. It's still pretty new over in Sutton in that little right off 146. It's where the post office is. What a great idea! It's used basically for children, but there've been adult books over there too.
Yeah, and I love that bookstore. It's like this little, like every room. There's so much to discover in like every room.
See, I haven't been there yet, but I hear about it and I know how great they are.
Yeah,
that's really good. And of course, the one in Webster. But you've been there already.
Yeah. I did an event at the library. I'm trying to remember. There's a library right near there that I did.
Yeah, the Webster Library.
It wasn't the Webster one. It was a town or two over.
Dudley?
No.
Southbridge?
Yes, it was Southbridge,
Yep.
and then I went to Book Lovers Grammain. So
So you met Deb Horan. Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh, she's terrific. So you're going to be leaving a copy of her latest right now, Secondhand Wishes, and this will be downstairs. Basic group, 8 to 12. But if you're a grown-up, it's okay. It's cool. And then the one that's coming out, the new series that will be coming out, The Magic Mirror, Once Upon a Fairy Tale, and yes, there are pictures that you can color. Oh, I love. You leave it wide open because I can't. I look at it, I'm like, I've got to color it because I'm reading the story and it fits in. I think that was a great idea. Were you surprised when it was so well illustrated?
So I knew it was going to be illustrated because it's an early chapter book, but I just love the illustrations. We put in some illustrator notes, but he just really ran with them, and I love what he did with it.
Oh yeah, you found a great illustrator.
Yeah, and again, that was not me. That was the publisher. I just really lucked out that they picked somebody
so
who did
there's
such
going
a good
to
job.
be four in
of
the
them.
series. What's after that?
So the third one is a Snow White one, the one where the dwarfs goes missing.
And the Snoring Princess.
Yes, and then the fourth one, the Snoring Princess, is a Sleeping Beauty retelling where the princess goes missing.
But after the series, what's coming up?
So I always have lots of things in the works. As you can tell, I have a lot of different ideas.
Yeah.
So I have another book coming out in 2020, that one with Simon & Schuster. And that one is actually my first book that's kind of a more serious book. I think the thing that ties all of my books together is that they're funny, and this one is a little bit more serious.
Is it going to be for what age group?
Same age, about 8 and up.
What's the general idea of it?
So I don't have like my pitch, my really, tight description of it down yet because it's not out yet. But it's like many of my stories, it's realistic with a little bit of magic. So this is set in a world where the U.S. is sort of closed off from the rest of the world, and they have some magic. So what they call amber, whereas this like magical liquid that makes people just a little bit smarter and a little bit faster. And they kind of have closed themselves off from the rest of the world so that because they don't want to share this resource that they have. And so it's about a girl whose family has immigrated there, and so her kind of struggling to fit in.
This sounds very timely.
Yes. And so it comes kind of from my own personal experience. I said I don't really write about my experience, but my family immigrated from Poland when I was.
You're from Poland? My Paul, our camera tech, is part Polish. We had a gentleman on here who wrote the book, the Mountain, the White Mountain, about up in New Hampshire. I think he's almost like 100% Polish. I
Yeah.
forgot what he's, but yeah. So it's your family emigrated from Poland.
Yeah, so right before I
Both
started-
sides of the family.
Yep. So
Both sides.
So yeah, I came here with my family when I was just before I started first grade. So I sort of worked that a little bit into the story. But
Was it hard to learn English, Anna?
I mean, I was so young that
Yeah.
I think it went pretty quickly because I was, not even 6. So it.
Where did you settle? Where did you first come?
So I grew up in Westboro.
In Westboro. So it's right down the street.
Yes.
Yeah. So you grew up in Westboro. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. I love the idea of coming over and being able to speak. I think English must be tough. There's so many abbreviations and slang words and everything. I don't know how they get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you were 6, so you were able to assimilate at least. How about your parents? How'd they do?
It was tougher, I think, for them. But my father had been traveling a lot for work before we
Over
moved
here.
here, and so his English was pretty good. I think for my mom it was a little bit tougher, and then
Yeah.
my brother is almost 6 years older than me, so I think for him it was a little bit harder because he was,
Yeah.
that's such a shift for when you're like 12.
Yeah, neither one of you spoke English when you got here.
Right. Yeah.
I can't imagine sitting in a classroom, like if I went to Spain and it was all in Spanish. I might catch on in French because I can speak French, but in Spanish, I'd be lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those. My dad likes to joke that they just put us in front of the TV for the summer before we started school, and then by the time the first day of school, we knew English. I mean, I don't
Very
think that's
clever.
quite true, but
We've been talking with Anna Staniszewski, the author of Secondhand Wishes and many, many other young people's books. And one more time, can they get your book?
So most libraries have them, bookstores, and they're also available on Amazon and anywhere else that you buy books online.
And don't forget to go to the Upton Library downstairs. She's going to donate. How many are you going to donate? The latest one?
So yeah, I'll do that one, and if I could probably also do an advanced copy of the book that's coming out in September. So if you want to get a sneak peek.
Thank you for being with us, and let us know when everything starts coming back, and we'll have you back on again. Love children's authors; it's so cool.
Thank you so much.
We need more, right? Got it too. See you next time. I'll be my guest. You did great.